I'm Professor Barbara Norman and I'm the Director of Canberra Urban and Regional Futures, or more commonly known as CURF. I think it's making a significant contribution and a really positive one. Everywhere I go now, people are looking for innovative platforms to better share information and research with decision makers in government and to engage more actively with the community. And that's what CURF does. CURF is an organisation that's been specifically set up to actually broker knowledge and to be part of a network and to engage much more actively and share knowledge. So I think it is, and I think after 6 years, and it's been hard work, but we're getting there. I don't even have to explain CURF now in the Canberra community. They know of CURF, and they feel very welcome in participating in our events. Well, we're practicing what we preach, and that's what people really respect about CURF. So we don't just talk about regional things and better planning and all the theory that can go with that. We're actually practicing what we preach in our own place. Sometimes that's harder because people know you and they question you and they challenge you personally, but that's a good thing. People internationally, our colleagues, whether they're in Copenhagen or in Stockholm or in London or in New York, and we have connections right through. We're a member of something called the United Nations Sustainable Solutions Network, which is all about the UN Sustainable Development Goals. They really have taken an interest in CURF as something that's working, something that's small, that's working, but it's beyond the theory, as I say. We're actually doing things. Well, we have a partnership with the ACT government, a very specific one about undertaking research and evidence-based research to inform their planning work for the ACT. And that's particularly timely now because in 2017, the ACT government will be reviewing the territory plan, or the plan for Canberra, if you like. It's a model that other people can use in other small cities. We often talk about global cities, but more than half of the world's population still live in cities less than 1 million people. And so they're looking at a lot of the things that we're doing in CURF and a lot of the things we're doing in Canberra. And renewable energy would be one example. When I first came to Canberra, I took up my role in Canberra 7 years ago, believe it or not, and I could see that there was no forum. There was actually no vehicle to bring all these different interests together. So that's where this initiative came from. So government tends to bring government together, private sector, civil society, they all hang out together, all the NGOs. But there's nothing that's a catalyst to bring them all together one day a year, which is not a big ask, but one day a year to talk about what are the critical issues for our future in Canberra. And it's really grown, and we're really delighted with the registrations that we've had this year. And I think it serves a real purpose. Not only on the day though, because we also produce a good publication afterwards, which we've found that whether you're a mayor in a local council or a general manager out there, or an executive in the ACT government, or involved with ACF or one of the NGOs or ACOS, they can use that report to table it at their meetings and say, we had this big discussion, these are the critical issues we identified, and we should be focusing on these. Renewable energy is a really positive story. So climate change, trying to reduce our emissions in Canberra and provide for a more sustainable future is one of our critical challenges. And we are making great progress. I'm really proud of what we're doing in Canberra in that respect. A big part of that equation is not only achieving renewable electricity 100% in 4 years' time by 2020, which we're on track to do, which is really amazing. And I think a first for a national capital in the world. The other one is the emissions from transport, and that's the other big issue in Canberra, which is about how to transform our essentially car-based city into a contemporary modern city, a sustainable city with a rapid transit system, public transit system. The issue of social inequity and spatial inequity. So there are pockets of deprivation, and in Canberra we need to be really mindful of that. So a strong focus of this forum this year is about place and prosperity and poverty. And so we need to be very careful of the way we design our city in the future as it grows, that we don't leave people behind. Rich are getting richer, poor are getting poorer. We don't want that to happen in this city. It's a fine city the way it is. We have some poverty. I used to be a housing commissioner. I'm well aware of that. But especially on the urban edges of our cities, where people with the least means are going to buy the cheapest housing and a lack of services. And we need to nip that in the bud and really ensure that we have an inclusive city in the future. We're doing 3 reports right now. One on living infrastructure, which is all the green bits in between that need attention. And more and more people are understanding that if you increase density of development, you also need to increase the quality of open space and the landscape. So that's that contribution. The second one is around taking a more regional perspective, and this is the regional part of CURF. That's our second report. And that's looking at what are the regional issues, what are the regional issues now, what will they be in the future, and what are the governance mechanisms we might need to consider in terms of developing a regional plan, an integrated regional plan for the Australian Capital Region. And the third one is around the whole planning strategy. Does the current planning strategy meet the needs of the future?